Hello, and welcome to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. This 5th edition D&D adventure, The Heretic, was written and run by your DM, Scott. And now, please enjoy episode 478, titled, I Think It's Enough for Tonight. Actual play begins immediately.
Hello, I'm Scott, your DM tonight for this 5e adventure, The Heretic. With me this evening, on my right, is...
I am Michael, playing Brother Byron, a human acolyte utilizing the Grave Domain and newly made Fist of Amara.
My name is Tom. I'm playing Alder Rusha, a male human cleric and rogue, who is a Fist of Amara.
I'm Mike, playing Marduk, a male half-orc fighter, graduate of the Academy, and new Fist of Amira.
I am Jim. I'm playing Grodor, one of the mighty Fists of Amira. He is a frail hobgoblin warlock from Dulgug who is searching for truth, knowledge, and power.
I'm John. I'm playing Melody, a female human cleric, the third of the exemplar family Harmony. I'm an ex-ambassador turned political operative.
I'm Thomas. I'll be playing Gabrielle d'Angelis. She's a female human paladin and a Holy Fist of Amira on a mission to the Hollowed Lands.
All right, where we left off last week there was a battle in the Reverent Weald with some redcaps, and that battle had concluded, but there was the aftermath of the battle to deal with. Specifically, there was some tension between the two wood elves. It was kind of an awkward situation where they were arguing amongst each other after thanking you for rescuing them and helping them defeat the redcaps. Eventually, you parted ways with the wood elves. You went back to the military camp for the 7th Battalion. You left a message with the captain of one of the companies indicating that you wouldn't be able to stay for the rest of the evening and you were heading on your way, and thanking him for his hospitality. You then traveled down the road a bit, spent the night several miles from the encampment. The next day, you got a late start, but after a long rest, you found yourself at the end of the day in the small town of Casserint at a crossroads. You decided to settle yourself in at the Well Met Tavern, where you got rooms for the night. Some of you decided to explore the city a little bit, specifically the temple of Amira, and made some offerings and tried to build up the spirits of a weary high priestess who could use the reinforcement and the uplifting message that you guys sent to her. Also, some of you spent time in the bar area buying healing potions and getting to know some of the local individuals who were staying for the night. Some of the caravan owners were passing through. And I believe that Alder had an altercation with a would-be thief as well, indicating that he saw what the thief was up to and to stay away from him and his friends. We left it after a game of Holy Bones with Alder and Mel playing against a local in the tavern, and that's where we left off. So let me know what you guys are interested in doing for the rest of the evening. It's probably around 10:30 at night. It's getting a little bit late, maybe closing in on 11 at this point. And the bar is starting to wind down a bit. I mean, these are caravans that are probably going to be off in the morning, so there's not a lot of late night partying into the evening. But there are still a goodly amount of tables filled, drinks still being drunk, and games still being played. But some of the attendants in the tavern are heading up to their rooms for the night and starting to basically call the night.
Okay, Melody. Healing potions, how much?
50 gold, I believe. I don't think we're going to be able to win that tonight with the crowd.
I think we can, simply because I don't recall the name of the gentleman we were playing with.
He didn't have a name, but his name now is Wex Samalir.
So I tell the person we were playing with, Wex Samalir.
Yes, Wex is a townsman just here for an evening of gambling and staying away from the screaming kids at home. Out for a night of fun, shirking his household duties.
Good for him. So I asked my opponent, Wex. That was fun. It was enjoyable. However, it surely didn't meet my needs. I'm curious if you would wish to play a game for more money. Not just, I believe it was 10 gold apiece.
It was 2, and I'm just the local wheelwright. I don't have a lot of gold to spend. I mean, I enjoy a good game of Holy Bones or maybe of 5 Dragon Ante, but anything steeper than that, you might want to look at some of the tables of the caravan leaders. They enjoy a good round of cards occasionally and might be willing to go a little higher as far as that goes.
Yeah, I turn to the crowd and just say it out loud. It's almost the end of the night, and surely most of us are going to head to bed soon. But I'm in the mood to take a chance at a game. Is anyone here brave enough to attempt a game with a 50 gold maximum? Anyone?
You see a splendidly dressed, middle-aged man with salt and pepper, close-cropped hair, actually wearing what looks to be some sort of a mix between a hat and a turban. It's a style that you do not see in Amira. And he's wearing more robes than clothing, and they're vivaciously colored. And he stands up and spreads his arm wide and says, Cadric Rains is always in the mood for a game of 5 Dragon Ante. Who are you, sir? Come to my table. And he, with a sweeping gesture, points towards the table he's at. Several of his guardsmen stand up and kind of make themselves scarce, so there's some open chairs. And there's your invitation.
Melody, you up for this?
Alder, I don't have 50 gold pieces. I just spent everything I had.
All right, well, I do. So
I guess I'll play the sidelines then.
Plan B, yes. Let's do this.
You noticed, Melody, that this was actually the merchant that you spoke with earlier, who had the healing potions as part of his caravan.
I wonder where he got that money.
Right. And he seemed to, if I remember correctly, you rolled very high on your persuasion check with him. So you're already in his good grace. He welcomes you back to the table with a big smile and a warm welcome, calling over for more alcohol, another bottle of wine to be delivered to the table, as he is a wine drinker. He points to the 2 chairs and welcomes you both to his table.
I introduce myself. I am Alder Rusha. It's very nice to meet you.
Cadric Rains. I am a merchant from Port Verulian. Perhaps you've heard of it in the
Port Verulian.
The sovereign shores to your south, in the beautiful green emerald city of Port Verulian. Yes, please.
My mother was a traveler. I know for a fact. I do recall her visiting there once, although I have not personally. How is everything down in that area? Safe, I hope?
Much safer than these parts, unfortunately. This may be our last trip north this year, if rumor is true, and a battle, or worse yet, a war, is underway. But for now, those are rumors, and the roads are clear, so we are happily traveling north to Temerity to help the cause, if we will, in any future battles you might have.
And make a little money, I'm sure.
And make a little money, of course.
I laugh.
He laughs as well. So, Earlier, your friend, whose name I apologize, I forget, she purchased a couple healing potions from our wares. You mentioned specifically a bet of 50 gold pieces. Am I under the impression I can put pieces together? I'm a relatively intelligent man. Are you looking for a healing potion, or are you looking to wager actual coin?
Coin is not as important to me as the fact that we are, well, I can't quite share what we're doing, but it is something that is hopefully for the good of all mankind. And we think that perhaps we will need a little bit of resource, and the healing potion being one of them.
I see.
So, yeah, that is something I am interested in. Because I would like nothing more than to make these roads safe for you. And again, can't tell you exactly what we're doing.
I wouldn't deign to ask. I'm sure you have secrets that you need to keep, and I wouldn't be so improper as to pry. What I will do is I will pour you each a glass of this fine red wine, and I will play you straight up I will play you 1 healing potion for 50 gold. And 5 Dragon Ante, you and me. What do you say?
Let's give it a shot.
All right. So 5 Dragon Ante, you've played it many times in the past. It is a little bit more popular in the South, but it is a card game that is played in Amira. There's 2 cards that are drawn. Those are part of each person's hand. So they're placed in the middle of the table. Mm-hmm. And you roll a 20-sided dice, and 2 numbers end up in the middle of the table. You then draw 2 cards for yourself. So you roll 2 die 20s yourself. And you try to make the best hand between the 4 cards that you have access to, the 2 in your hand and the 2 that are on the table for everyone to use. At that point, you would, in a normal game, ante up again based on the strength of your cards, and then you draw 1 final card. In this particular deck of cards, the 1 is the dragon. So the 1s are wild. The 1s can be anything you want them to be. So again, total of 5 cards, 3 in your hand, 2 on the table. 1s are wild, and you try to get the highest numbers you possibly can. So 2 20s would be fantastic, but some people can just win if they have a 20 as 1 card and the next person has an 18. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He shuffles his deck of cards.
This is a 2-player game? I'm not participating?
This is a 2-player game. It's just, It's straight up healing potion for 50 gold.
I mean, I have a healing potion to participate. That's why I was thinking about it. But
yeah, I was also thinking about raising it if I get something that's clearly a good chance of winning, that we could up the ante.
Okay. So a 13 and a 4 is on the table.
All right. I rolled an 8 and a 15.
He looks at you and says in as neutral a voice as he can put forward, "Do you wish to raise at all?" I know we said we were betting just 50 and a healing potion, but I wanted to give you the option in case you were feeling your hand was particularly strong.
Alas, I'm afraid I have no additional gold to contribute, so I'm afraid I cannot raise.
All right.
So I tap the table. Pass.
All right. He smiles and then flips you your final card and flips 1 to himself. You rolled
a dragon. A 1.
Excellent. Your hand goes up to a pair of 15s.
Correct.
He motions to you if you'd like to lay your cards down first.
I look at Melanie.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you want to bet your healing potion as a raise, and we might get 2 healing potions for this? Or we could lose your healing potion. Do we want to take that chance?
No. The reason I got this is because I had no way of saving you earlier, and I don't want to gamble on that.
Yet I'm still alive. All right. I place the cards down on the table, and it is an 8, a 15. I sigh, and then I place the dragon down next to the 15, and another 15.
Impressive, he says. And he smiles as he overturns a 20 and a dragon. Well played, Alder.
And you as well.
That's a good hand. It was a good hand. It would win on many days. But I will gladly take your coin and gladly pour you another drink.
Much appreciated. And I hope, regardless, that we still manage somehow to keep your road safe for you.
Do you have enough for another hand? Or how close are you?
I do not. I'm down to 7 gold because I had 57.
Okay.
That was a big bet.
I have 22, but I don't have enough to beef us up.
At this point, Gabrielle, Brother Byron, and Marduk enter the tavern from their visit to the Temple of Amira to pay respects on this holy day. It's Veil Day. They are back at the bar, and if they want to interact, they certainly can as well. And I believe that Grodor, you're up in the room, correct, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't discluding you. You're always welcome to come down if you want to see what everyone else is doing, or you can continue to do what you're doing, which is rest and recuperate in the room.
I'm not sure he'd have any reason to head down, so I think he's just chilling upstairs.
Okay. How about Gabrielle, Brother Byron, and Marduk? Heading back up to the room, are you going to see what Alder and Mel are up to at a table with a foreign-dressed gentleman drinking wine.
What time is it?
At this point, about 10:30, 10:45.
Brother Byron says he's done for the night. He's going to head up.
Marduk is not entirely familiar with crowds like this, so he too is more eager to get back on the road. He will follow along with Byron and go to his room.
Sounds good.
Gabrielle's going to join her two friends at the table, unless they're about to head out as well. She can't quite tell. But she saunters over and makes her way to their side of the table, leans in and asks Mel what's happening, because she was the one not currently engaged, if I recall.
Mel's counting coins, and she says, we are 21 gold short of either purchasing or betting on a healing potion.
Mm-hmm.
This guy beat us last time, and I want to show him what for.
Do you think you can show him what for? She expects your reaction.
I don't know, at a straight game. We already tried that and lost. But
in a straight game, it comes down to luck. How good are you?
I mean, if it was Dragon Chess, I'd have a chance. This is just flipping cards.
Here's what I'm thinking, out of character, but I do need to talk about it for the sake of getting into character. Is cheating with a crooked set of cards against the rules if it's just to help out on our holy quest? I think from a paladin's point of view, that kind of comes out in the wash. And
I mean, that's how I justified it. But, you know, you do you.
So you think the end justifies the means?
I think when the end is...
I think this guy's made of money, and he's not going to have trouble if I get a healing potion out of it.
Wow.
With a rationalization.
On the other hand, I could just literally buy it.
I mean, do it then. I'd be more than happy to go to bed. I'd lost some money here, and I'd like it back.
He's just smiling, like listening to the... Not listening, because I think you guys are talking quietly amongst yourselves on the other side of the table. But he did pour Gabrielle another glass of wine.
All right. We'll play one more time, and then if I lose out of character, I'll just freaking buy the potion. But in character, I am all, what is the word, bravado here.
Okay.
She smiles as she hears the name of the card game. Was it 5 Dragon Ante?
5 Dragon Ante.
Okay, with a charm check, I, myself, am quite a player of 5 Dragon Ante as well. And from her belt, she reveals her own deck of cards, which flash out in a flourish. A Ruffle Shuffle? What's that one that you can literally do from like 3 feet apart and all the cards go?
I don't know the name of it, but I get the visual, and it's impressive.
And then I'm actually going to roll to see how well I do that, because even odds. Woof. Roll a 2.
Well, you fumbled a few cards.
And then she laughs as they all fall upon the table, and she shuffles it back into the deck.
I can see you're quite the expert, he says, his fingers steepled in front of him with a smile on his face, or a wry smile.
It may have been a few months since I've managed to get a card out. I've been in school. No time.
Understandable. I have no problem playing with your deck.
All right.
Same game?
Indeed.
50 gold versus a healing potion?
A little incredulous at her friends because she was not particularly listening to the goldos changing hands, but she nods and places a small sack of gold down upon the table.
All right.
Is there any chance that I can let Gabrielle know whether Kadric had a towel or not when he had a dragon card, when he had a pretty decent hand?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
And what I'm trying to do is convey, not inspiration, but an assist, as it were.
Yeah.
For
the help action.
I rolled a 19.
You think you picked up something in the tone of his voice. It's not an actual physical in the sense of it wasn't his eyes, it wasn't his hands, but when he asked if he wanted to ante up, the tone of his voice got a little bit deeper and a little bit more serious. You think that might be a tell?
So what I do is I tell Gabrielle and Melody that I'm afraid it's been a long day of travel for me. It was wonderful to meet you, Kadric, but I must go to bed, and I lean in and whisper to Gabrielle what I thought was a tell, and hopefully will assist in the roll. And then I wander away from the table.
Okay. How are we rolling this? Just straight up D20?
Just roll 2 dice 20. We're using your deck so you can make the roll, Gabrielle.
Okay. Alright, I got a 15 and 2.
All right. Now draw 2 cards.
12 and 10.
So right now you have a 15 high. Now, if you want to re-roll one of those dice with an inspiration, you can go ahead and do that. He's going to roll 2 dice really quick, and I'm going to then let you know if there's any tells that come into play. He rolled. Go ahead and make an insight check, please, Gabrielle.
Oof, 6.
Unfortunately, his voice, you don't know what it was like before, so the fact that it was lower and more serious, I mean, you do know what it's like in general, but his voice doesn't seem any more low or serious. You're not thinking either he doesn't have a good hand or he's not getting away his tell.
I gotcha.
So which one are you rolling over again? The 10 or the 12?
I feel like the 12 is closer to the 15, so I might be able to do something with that.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to re-roll the 10. Oh, that was good. That was very good. I rolled a 12, which means I now have 12 pair.
Yes, you do. Melody, you did not notice the same inflection in his voice that he had the first time when he asked in the first game. With your 19, you rolled a 19 on your insight check as you were sitting at the table. Mm-hmm. So you have a feeling that either his hand's not as good as the last hand, or, again, maybe you guys mistook the tell for something else. But if he does have a tell, it looks like he has a bad hand.
Under the table, I'm giving a thumbs up.
Okay. Her nose scrunches up, and she gives it an agonizing thought. But she nods and pushes, and off her belt comes a second sack of gold.
Yeah, I'll pay for half of that. I'm putting my 22 in.
Okay. And so you'll put in 28, Gabrielle, for a total of 50. So he either needs to fold or he needs to ante up another healing potion, and he antes up another healing potion.
Ooh, gold.
He doesn't have them at the table, but he places the coin from the Sovereign Shores area, from Port Verulian itself, and so he puts 2 coins in the middle that represent the healing potions.
Fair enough.
He asks for his final card.
Right.
Heal it.
And
Okay.
8, which is middle of nowhere, doing nothing.
Right. So he, with a bit of a sigh, places down his 3 cards, which is a high of 20. He does not have a pair.
Very high card, and with nothing on the table, it may have been something to worry about, but she, finger to nose, reveals her cards. 2 12s and an 8.
Well played, Gabrielle. Fate was not with me on that particular hand, and I will have one of my men, and he kind of calls one over, says, go procure 2 healing potions for the young lass. She's quite the card sharp.
It was not my skill. It was the will of Amira that won me that card game. These healing potions will be put to good use.
As all I can wish for. If I'm going to lose them, then I'm hoping that they go to a good home for a good use and a good cause. And it seems like with your secretive mission that you're on, that these will have some fair use and hopefully serve you well in the future. Although, of course, I hope you never have need to use them.
Of course, of course.
Another glass of wine.
I think I have sinned enough for tonight. Gambling.
Is there such a thing?
Usually my forte, though cards are always a joy. And she begins to pack up her own deck. Mel, are you comfortable, or would you like to join me upstairs?
Oh, let's go. I don't want to push our luck tonight.
May the road treat you both well, he says with a smile and a nod, and he starts sipping his wine and mulling over his losses for the evening.
You didn't drink that wine, did you?
Should I have not?
Verulian wine makes your piss hurt.
Thank you, Mel. You're so thoughtful of my health. And we head up to our room, which I think we have alone.
All right, so everyone's in their rooms for the evening. Obviously, being in a tavern, I don't imagine you're setting watches or doing anything along those lines. You're just going to wash up in the wash basin that's provided for the room. They don't actually have baths. You'd have to probably go somewhere into the town to find a bathhouse if you wanted to fully get the grime of the road off of your body. But you are able to wash up a bit in the wash basin and fall asleep for the evening. Marduk, as you're drifting off into sleep, much like before, you feel a pool. You're kind of in that hazy between dreaming and wakefulness state. You feel from a pouch that you've placed in the corner of your belongings, the pouch that has the red and the black stones that you found earlier in the story. You feel as if one of them is kind of tugging at your consciousness to come to it.
Like before, I respond by getting out of bed and going to my equipment and finding the belt pouch where I put the stones.
All right. You feel a particular pull from the red stone, as if it wants to be handled.
I touch it or hold it. Can you describe the stone? Was it just a plain red-colored stone, or was it some kind of like agate or gem or something?
They're about the size of a fist, maybe, or maybe not quite a fist, but close.
Oh.
So a decent-sized piece of stone in your hand. And you grasp the red stone. Immediately, your mind is flooded with formulas and mathematics and calculus and all these different types of numbers and notations and formula again that make you feel it's almost as if something's being imprinted into your thoughts.
Am I able to recognize, or is anything familiar about these equations or formula? Are they alchemical? Are they magical? Or
go ahead and make an insight check.
Okay. Or would this be a straight-up intelligence check?
You know what? Go ahead and make an intelligence roll. That's better. Actually make an arcana roll.
Oh, okay. And right down the middle, 10.
Okay. You feel as if the very beginnings of a magical formula is being imprinted upon your thoughts and your brain. It feels as if, for the lack of a better descriptor, it almost feels like you're at the very beginning stages of learning a spell.
Okay.
The formula keeps coming, and it's complex, and it's swirling around your brain, and you're wide awake. I mean, like absolutely wide awake as you're taking it all in. It's not like a trance. You're very aware of the situation. You can hear everyone, the other three men in your room, you can hear them breathing softly in their sleep as they fall into slumber. But for you, 5 minutes pass and you're wide awake and this formula is imprinting itself upon you. And then 10 minutes. And then 15. And you're just taking it in?
Well, back in the academy, I had aspired to join the Fist of Amira's version of the Eldritch Knights, so as much as I maybe am intelligent enough to think that this may not be necessarily good, I don't think I have the willpower to really stop it, because this is something that I want to achieve, magic. Okay. So I will let it flow and see where it goes.
All right. It's 20 minutes, it's 25, it's 30, but right around the end of a half hour, you feel the formula start to dissolve and lose their formation and lose their solidity in your mind. And it just starts to basically fade away. And all the equations, they fade into black, and you're left in a state of restfulness that you felt prior to lying down and getting ready for bed. You feel that same sense of just completion, like you feel content is what you feel. You feel like you just studied very hard and you're ready to now turn your mind off and see what dreams bring to you for the night.
When you say content, that I'm just at peace and not really willing to question what just happened or try to record it or try to hold on and remember every little thing I can, or that I'm pretty calm and relaxed and just want to go with it and flow with it?
Right now you feel calm and relaxed, but but who you are as a person is your decision. So just because you're feeling a sense of completion and the magic of what just happened is fading away doesn't mean that you can't inquire. If you as a player wants to be inquisitive, you certainly can be.
Yeah, well, I wonder Was I able to get a sense of what these formula are calculating or leading to? Is it it's a magical thing, but is it something for defense? Is it something for information, or is it something for protection, or maybe summoning, or like, is there any clue I can maybe, or was there anything that I might have introspection on in this state of peacefulness that like a truth has been revealed to me, but now it's kind of evaporating as I get ready to sleep.
Now that the half hour has passed and you've been imprinted with some information, go ahead and make another Arcana check with advantage.
Oh, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. I only get an 11. So once again, it's right down the middle again. Just not really sure what I'm experiencing. I'm such a tool, Amira. I'm just your tool being used.
It's been a long day for you too.
Yeah, I guess.
You get the idea. 11's not terrible, so you did gain some information from it. Maybe not as much as you would have otherwise, but you get the idea that the basic fundamentals of magic are being woven into your brain. And specifically, you feel like it could be evocation. You just went through your very first Evocation 101 class.
Gotcha.
And you now have that to go off of, but there's more to learn, obviously.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone sleeps through the night with no incidents in either room. You all wake up in the morning, I'm going to say around the same time after a long rest, so everyone gets the advantage of a long rest if they needed it. For the clerics, Brother Byron and Alder, please do your morning prayer ritual. Learn what you need to learn.
I need to pick the spells I'm going to use.
Okay. So it's a new morning, so please do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to wake up early. I'm going to head down to the Amira Temple and say a quick prayer.
The temple in the morning is actually, I wouldn't say it's busy, but there are several other townspeople in the temple paying their respect. You're able to do the same. There doesn't seem to be any attendants taking care of the temple at this particular point.
And I was just going to be thanking her for helping us out so far and letting her know we're kind of trying to figure out what happened. And if there's any communication going on between her and my patron, just let you know I think she's trying to help too, and just thanking her for hooking me up with some good guys to hang out with, and that's about it.
Okay. Prayer received, supposedly. I mean, hopefully. Uh-huh. You make your way back to the tavern just as everyone else is coming downstairs to grab breakfast. Everyone wants to spend 1 silver piece. They can have a breakfast that doesn't involve trail rations. Or you can go ahead and just make your way out to your wagon and eat the trail rations if that's preferable.
We'll enjoy the good food while we're here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Our Duke appreciates a continental breakfast.
Okay.
I am shelling out 2 silver pieces and getting a lot of food.
Okay.
Or something for the road to snack on.
That's not a problem. You get a little paperish bag of bread and
some dried meats or something.
Yeah, some dried meats, some fruit, maybe some grapes that are ripe and won't last more than a couple days, but will be good to eat later today for lunch, perhaps.
Cool.
And you find yourselves again on the road on day 3. Yes.
Our Duke asks, how did the card game go?
I won the second hand.
The ladies are much better at it than I am.
When it comes to the health of my friends, I don't play games. I win cards. She flashes her cards again through her hands and reveals that when she spilled them, she marked 12. She smiles and then puts her cards away. How was everyone's rest? I enjoyed the beds in that particular tavern after those couple of nights on the road.
I'm going to miss the beds.
I keep my own console and return scanning the road for possible threats.
And we ride on. Day 3?
Day 3, the road changes a bit to, you've been heading mostly south for the first 3 days. About midway through your day, you start veering to the southeast, that easterly turn towards the mountains and Iron Sword Pass.
This is officially farther than I've ever been before.
I'm heading home. I've been this way.
Yeah, this is old hat. We should see the mountains tomorrow or the day after.
The day goes by pretty quickly. Again, you're seeing a couple of major caravans, obviously intended for war, heavily guarded. The occasional Soul Guard patrol, 2 Soul Guard on horses, patrolling the South Way to make sure it stays safe. All in all, it ends up being a pretty uneventful day. You break for lunch. There's some clouds that start forming overhead. The weather has been exceptional late summer weather, mid to upper 70s, sometimes in the low 80s, cool nights in the 60s. It's been just perfect weather. As you head towards the evening hours of day 4, you notice a graying in the skies and some clouds forming overhead, and it looks like there might be potentially a storm for the evening. And you come upon what looks to be a small village or thorp right as you're coming towards the end of day 4. You see 1- and 2-story wooden buildings at a distance. You're entering an area that's a little more hilly, too. It's not, when I say hilly, I mean that there's small rolling hills in this part of the honeyed plains. When you get to the top of one of the crests of a small hill, you can see the village laid out before you in the distance. Then you come down that small hill and you lose sight of the village. And then you come up the next hill and you gain the sight again until you find yourself at the outskirts of the village. It's probably at this point around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening of day 4. You can make your way into the village if you want to. It's getting right towards the end of your 8 hours on the road. It depends on how you want to handle it. Do you want to camp outside the village? Do you want to go into the village for the night? Do you want to push through and go past the village? But there's a village that's there. And for those who have traveled this road before, specifically Grodor, Mel, Marduk, you've come this way before from the Cinderwold area. Not sure of others, but I know those 3 for sure. There's a small village called Copshire.
And as we approach the city, Marduk kind of ponders out loud to everybody, I've been giving thought to the road ahead. Mm-hmm. And I begin to wonder, we should make sure our story is the same, because I'm not sure how we will be able to easily pass or explain ourselves as we try to go east of the Iron Sword Pass. So I put it to you, what's our story so we all can make sure that we tell the same tale?
Fair. I mean, we're on a mission, we're on an official...
Yeah, our mission is secret, so we probably don't even want to use the word.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's people being told to go here and there and put on in missions and go somewhere.
I understand.
We could just say we've been ordered to go to this city of Tarask, and that's where we're headed.
Okay.
If you wanted to avoid mentioning orders whatsoever, maybe archaeologists, scholars, and their retinue.
Depends on how close we need to get. While we're traveling along this road, we can just claim that you're returning me home.
These are all good ideas. I just want to make sure that when the time comes, I'm sure somebody will dare to question us, and our rank and our privilege here may only extend so far with some of them, and we've been fortunate. I only ask that we stop and we have left a pretty clear trail of people who have seen us, so it would not be hard to backtrack us. That is all I say.
All right.
I think relying on Mel's name would be a good way to do it. We're heading into territory where she's already going to be noticed, and saying that we're her retinue here to bring her back to
We escort,
duties. Yeah, escorting Mel on her duties to be an ambassador to the Hollowlands is a perfectly reasonable explanation for what we would be doing.
That is our official cover. Excellent. I just wanted to be clear on that matter.
That was a good idea, Marduk.
I'm curious what we say when we get to the orcs. I'm not going to Tarask if we're going into orc territory. Not that I'm not welcome there. I just, like you said, we need to come up with what's going on.
Well, I will speak with them as our traditions and as my knowledge of the area will allow, but I would like to...
somewhat in that regard, too.
Right, but I would like to avoid it as much as possible. I think now things will change east of Iron Sword Pass. That is all I'm saying.
Are we not to ask permission to unearth this tomb before we go in?
You are being sent to Tarask, where you will meet at the caravansary with a guide who will guide you into the Hollowlands. From there, you're to meet a orcish tribal leader who is sympathetic to Amira and to Temerity, to the state, even though they are kind of cut off or estranged from the country of Amira. They are sympathetic to your plight. That tribal leader and his group hopefully will lead you to the tomb that you're to visit.
So we will have the support of some of the locals. What was your concern exactly, Mel? That we wouldn't know what to do once we got there?
No, it was that I forgot we were going to meet a tribal leader who was going to give us a big thumbs up.
Okay. So that matches with our cover, which is that we're going there to do diplomacy. They already like us. Bam, problem solved. Diplomacy's already done. Pat self on back. Do mission from God. Sorry, do mission from Amira.
God works too. I'm sure you call her that sometimes. Or Goddess. Okay, you've come to the outskirts of the small village or thorp of Copshire. It's time to make a decision on where you're going to camp for the night, or whether you're going to use the hospitality of the village for the evening.
I think it's time we start skipping villages, because if we waste all our time, we're never going to pick up any speed.
The only reason why I would say stay at the village is because it looks like the weather's going to get bad, and it might be better to do that under a regular roof instead of under the cart or tents if we have them.
I think we have tents.
I'm looking at the horizon. Am I able to use my survival skill to estimate what the weather might possibly do? Is that a survival?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's more survival than nature, so I'd go with the survival check.
Okay. Marduk rolls a 19.
So it looks to you as if there's going to be a storm sometime in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Can we tell the severity of the storm?
A 19 is a good roll. It looks like a thunderstorm.
And it's still weather. I mean,
yeah, tough to predict, but it looks like it's going to be a decent-sized thunderstorm somewhere in the middle of the night.
I would say if we were going to push through that, I'd rather push through now when we're still in relatively settled territory. But that's a nasty-looking, potentially a nasty storm ahead of us, and it might be unwise to try to push through tonight. So unless anyone else has objections, this actually might be worthwhile to stay in the village or at least nearby, but after this we may want to consider picking up the pace.
Okay. I bow to the wisdom of Weather Orc.
That's true. The only reason I would disagree is there anything I remember about this town as it being a reason to skip?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. It's a small little village. It's at the intersection of a caravan route heading directly south to Hammerhome in the southern part of Amira, and the South Way, which is actually heading kind of east now, southeast. It's at the intersection of those two caravan routes, so it's just a small village. It doesn't even have a caravanserai. It's not even that big to have one. It's usually passed through or passed by or maybe stopped in for a night if... It's not like the last city or last town you were at, Castle Rent, which had a large caravanserai and had taverns and had temples, and this is just more of an oversized thorp or a small village. And if you remember correctly, it does have a tavern. It does have a place to stay, but you can't remember the name of it because why would you?
Okay. I'll agree with that then. There's plenty of reasons to push out east, but here, let's save the horses for that.
All right. So you make your way into the village, which looks something like this.
It is a map. We need to leave.
Thank you for listening to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. If you'd like to send us a question, comment, or feedback, you can reach us in a number of ways, including Twitter @KOTN_podcast or by emailing us at feedback@KOTNpodcast.com. And don't forget the iTunes reviews. We also have a Facebook page which can be found at facebook.com/KOTN.podcast. While on Facebook, you can join like-minded folks at our fan page at facebook.com/groups/KOTNfan. And lastly, there's our blog at KOTNpodcast.com, where there's an Amazon link on the right-hand side for those of you who'd like a more steady way to help us pay the bills. Or if you live outside the U.S., you can help by donating to our Patreon page at patreon.com/KOTN. And please remember to join us next week for more mystery and adventure.
You said cleric instead of mystic.
It's true, but I kind of am. Also
Okay,
a
that's all
cleric.
good. I just wanted to make sure it's
Yeah.
what you wanted.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
It's just all over the table, which is charming in its own way.
Sure.
Okay, there's a lot of noise going on in the background. It's some musical.
That's me. Let me try to close the door, see if I can get away from it a little bit.
Scott, it's your turn to be muted and talking.
Huh, funny how that works. Marduk, how does it work for the warlock? Are you have access to all, or do you have to choose as well?
I'm not a warlock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Grodor. My bad. Sorry. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had advantage still left on. Do you want me to redo that?
No, you can just take the first roll. Whatever it would have been, we would have
Or
taken.
then it's a 19.
Okay.
All right.
Other possible titles for this episode were available for voting at the Facebook fan page. The other options were I Bow to the Wisdom of the Weather Orc. It's a map. We need to leave. I had no way of saving you earlier. Verulian wine makes your piss hurt. Wow. Another rationalization. And I just want to go with it and flow with it.